Hello, you typewriter enthusiasts. It's Ken Kroshka again. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about what I've been working on the last 3 days. It's probably been a little longer, but constant working on it. Yes, I'm still on vacation. But before I jump into this 1934 Smith Corona Silent, I wanted to talk about patents. If you saw my show about Mabel Aaron, you know I'm getting into collecting patents a little bit and trying to get their stories out. I just took on the story of George C. Powell. The guy selling these was thinking they were automobile because it says car trucks. Well, that's not the case. This is 104-year-old railroad. Again, one of the big 1800s, revolutionized the parallel track into the turn type ride. So I've adopted 2 of his patents, and I'm going to try and tell his story. But I'm still going to encourage that, whether it be for the typewriter guys or women or whatever, tell their stories. Okay, so let's start with the case for this. The handle was bad. It was torn, it had belt buckles, it tears like paper. There's no way you want to put any weight under that. So I took 2 key rings, ran them off of the original loops, and I kept the belt attachment and just kind of hung them on there for aesthetics, okay? And I used that same one I had on the clipper case a while back. I used that on here. So it's got a handle now. It was a California typewriter, and I got it off the internet. And that sea salt and it came with a typewriter cover. But that sea salt, I cleaned everything up here, and it got in, that sea salt brine got into everything metal. And I've seen other typewriters from California with that same issue, so everything was stuck, man. I mean, you know, when you got to deal with something, you don't want this for light either. I went out and bought some new flashlights today, but this is what you want to be. Big difference when you're inside the cavity of the darkest hole in the world. If you've ever been inside one of these, you know what I'm talking about. So, in working on this, though, I found myself to be having a hard time finding images off the internet. Does this spring hook up there, and so forth? People are selling them, and they're giving you this profile. I'm not selling mine, but I want to give you, who might be working on one of these, mind you, there is a difference between silent and standard, but I want to give you some images that I didn't have. Just the basic straight-on shot stuff like this. This may help somebody, though. There is no spring coming off of the bottom of the ribbon reverse lever. It has a hole in it, but it doesn't have a spring, and it's not supposed to. So that was one thing I found myself wondering, and finally figuring out that no is the answer there in case you're stuck on it. But if any of this helps you, because I had her apart and put her all back together, so there's all sorts of stuff in there. Let me stand her on her back here. This is the stuff that nobody's showing you, though. This is gold if you're working on one of these, to be able to see this, because there are so many little springs and so many different ones of these bodies. This is a 1934, I may have said that already, but they switched things. There was ones with bars right across in this area later, and you know, I had some trouble with the ribbon reverse, and I had to take the gears out that go up to the ribbon cups, the gears and the whole stem. Somebody must have WD-40'd up in there. It was just brown goo, and everything was stuck, man. I mean, I can't even tell you what I was fighting anymore. If it wasn't the brown goo, it was the sea salt, and if it wasn't that, it was another thing. So I went through it. She does need a new ribbon, so I'll probably pick a green colored one or something. But one of the other things that I found with the silent standard and silent are going to be different. These spring assemblies, you know, when you got a question about something and there's no answers, I'm going to try and show you behind here. So yes, that is supposed to have 3 springs when you get down to it. You're going to think, wow, what a mess. But then compared to the standard, this whole assembly comes out. They made the silent so that you could switch the platen. And so you've got this arm that closes over because this whole piece comes out. It's brass. And on this side, because it's not a standard, you have this, which slides back and forth. Oh, come on, camera. There we go. So this piece here with the 3 screws, that slides backward. See that? I just slid it backwards so that you can quick change your platen if you want to go to a harder surface. So all this stuff comes into play. And of course, I have tab, and the way the tab slugs work, if you don't have them, that can be tricky. This bar back here, for the margin stuff, that was so scaled up and bad and stuff. I mean, not the bar, but the things themselves. I have a 1940s parts typewriter, and that's what I used for these margin stops. I just put the 40s one on there and bent that so it lines up with the bell. But it's better than fighting with that sea salt. Spaced out the tabs. Some of them were in backwards. Lime City back there, or whatever it was, though. I mean, I cleaned all that. I changed 2 of the feet to the 1940s because the 30s ones had turned to gum. The 40s ones right here are a bit smaller than the 30s up front. Come on. So the 30s, there it is. You see how it's got that round bottom thing, but it doesn't matter. Just a touch smaller, they work. So if you don't have an old standard or something laying around for parts and you get going inside of here, you can use a lot of stuff off the 40s onto the 30s within exceptions, and it should work out for you. But I hope you guys got to see something if you're working on one of these, a visual that you don't see every day in your search, and I hope that helps you all. Have a great day, people.